No, yeah, I mean, I think you should wait for some other people to join.
No, I think this is it. This is
Okay.
the Okay, Tov. Let's fire it up. B'Shem Kol Yisrael. Thanksgiving, the secret of being a giver and a receiver. And let's fire it up. So, Yitzchak. By the way, we're learning about Yitzchak today. It's all we're learning about. It makes so much sense that you're on
So
Baruch
much
Hashem.
sense.
And the learning today is also going to be tefillah, and the tefillah is going to be Torah. And we're going to be learning about the Orach HaMakadosh. So the Orach HaMakadosh, just a brief background because I want to learn the background, is the story that follows one of the most wonderful stories that are told about the saintly Reb Chaim ben Alter. By the way, the story we're not going to get into, but you could go to Chabad.org and there's a story, one of the most famous stories from the Orach HaMakadosh. But just here's some general background. So Reb Chaim ben Rabbi Ibn Attar was born in Morocco in a family that had produced outstanding Torah scholars and rabbis from Chabad.org. Rabbi Chaim was born in 1696, just 2 years before another saintly rabbi was born in a different part of the world, in Poland, namely the Rabbi Yisrael Baal Shem Tov, the Baal Shem Tov Kadosh, founder of the Hasidic movement. Rabbi Chaim studied under his grandfather, whose name he bore. Sephardic Jews often name their children after living parents or grandparents. While still a young man, he became famous as a great Talmudic scholar and Kabbalist. He led a very saintly life and was called a Kadosh, holy man. He wrote several important works, the best known before being his commentary on the Chumash, which is often printed alongside Rashi, the Rambam, and the other famous commentaries. So, towards the last years of his short life, he only lived until 47 years old. He decided to go to the Holy Land. And on the way, he spent several years in Livorno, Venice, and Italy, and Damascus. He arrived in Jerusalem in 1742 with a group of 30 followers. However, in the following year, he passed away on the 15th of Tammuz. Wherever he lived, he founded a yeshiva and a synagogue which carried his name and were famous along after the founder's death. The Or Chaim synagogue and the yeshiva of the Old City of Jerusalem were destroyed by the Jordanian Arabs during their occupation of the Old City. However, there are plans to rebuild the ruins along with the other sacred institutions of the Arabs that had desecrated or destroyed. So if you continue along in the article, you'll have access to the story. So now it's my first time going into the Orach HaMakadosh right here, Baruch Hashem, beautiful new Sefer. And we're going to be learning about Yitzchak. We're going to be learning about Isaac, all about Isaac. And it's amazing that Isaac's on right now. It makes so much sense. He may have gone on for different intentions, but mamish, this is the intention that we're learning about Isaac. Woo! Schok de Yitzchak, the laughter of Yitzchak. It's all about the laughter of Yitzchak. By the way, heard the gematria from Rav Joey. Schok, laughter. What's the numerical value of schok? Or Ein Sof. Or Ein Sof. Beautiful. And we see the laughter right now from Yitzchak, Mamish, Schok, Yitzchak, or Ein Sof. Beautiful. So we're just going to be learning about the first pasuk a Parsha total. We're living with the times. And the Orach HaMakadosh seemingly has a few approaches on this first pasuk, and we're going to be learning about the first two. And mind us that it's Thanksgiving, and we said this at the beginning, it's the secret of giving and receiving. Now, Rav Yair told me once that, it's don't try to always be like Michael Jordan, but rather try to be like Phil Jackson. Right, and point the players in which to go and which to receive from and which plays to run, etc. So I don't know how to be Michael Jordan when it comes to giving and receiving, but what I can do is offer a book that could give us the secret of giving and receiving, which is Yichud Hibodedu. What an amazing sefer, which is all about receiving and giving. Anyways, we should look into that sefer to learn more about secret, the giving and receiving, which is Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, receiving, giving. Okay. Isaac's fired up. You see he's laughing right now because it's the Orient soap. She's just like an Orient soap. Okay, cool. Be'ela todo Yitzchak ben Avram, Avram holid at Yitzchak. So, and these are the offspring of Yitzchak, son of Avram, and Avram fathered Yitzchak. We'll read it one more time. And these are the offspring of Yitzchak, son of Avram. So they start off with the offspring of Yitzchak. And then they said, Avram fathered Yitzchak. What's going on here? The Or Chaim says like this, and we need to determine the answers to following the two difficulties in this verse. The verse begins by introducing the offspring of Yitzchak, and these are the offspring of Yitzchak. But then instead of immediately mention the offspring of Yitzchak, it mentions the birth of Yitzchak. The offspring of Yitzchak, then the birth of Yitzchak. Avram fathered Yitzchak. What does this mean? What's going on here? In addition to this information being out of place, it is also necessary to inform us that Avram fathered Yitzchak, since this is clearly stated in the previous verses. In truth, so this is the first of, oh my gosh, this is crazy. This is actually crazy. Isaac, this is crazy. How many approaches, right? We look at one pasuk and we try to understand the meaning of the pasuk. But the Or HaChaim HaKadosh, we just learned from Morocco when the Holy Kabbalists offers 7 approaches on this difficulty, on this pasuk. 7 approaches. We're gonna learn the first 2, don't worry. And in truth, the intention of the verse is as follows. Be'evet toldo Yitzchak, the beginning of the verse, and these are the offspring of Yitzchak, refers to those who are mentioned later at the end of the passage, Yaakov and Esav. Right, those are his offspring. But having mentioned the children of Yitzchak, the verse must address how it is that Yitzchak had children at all. How did Yitzchak have children? How did he have children? For we already know that when Yitzchak was born, he was spiritually incapable of ever producing offspring. For his soul came from the element of nukva, as we have written above in a different place. So what does this mean? This refers in the footnote to a Kabbalistic concept discussed by the Or HaChaim in a number of places. In Or HaChaim's discussion of this concept, as mentioned immediately below, he explains that through Avram's actions at the Akedah, this spiritual impediment was removed and Yitzhak gained the spiritual capacity to produce offspring. So it's all about the Akedah that happened, which is the reason why Yitzhak was able to have Yaakov and Esav. Okay. If so, one may wonder, how did he have children? For this reason, our verse concludes by saying, Abram holida Yitzchak, which can be translated as Abram caused Yitzchak to father children, meaning that Abram gave Yitzchak the spiritual power to produce offspring. For he drew down for him a power to produce offspring and drew down for him a soul that is capable of producing offspring. And this was done through Avram's actions at the Akedah, the binding of Yitzchak upon the altar. As we have written before, thus the word holid in this verse does not mean produce offspring, but caused to produce offspring. Avram enabled Yitzchak to produce offspring through the events of the Akedah, and this is the first approach. So now we're going to go into the second approach with a couple more sentences, and then we'll bring it all together. So the verse additionally means to convey another idea. This is the second interpretation out of 7 interpretations. So the verse additionally means to convey another idea, which can be understood based on the statement of the sages of blessed memory in Yevamot, that Hashem responded to his plea. The sages explain that although both Yitzchak and Rivka pleaded with Hashem for children, Hashem responded specifically to the prayers of Yitzchak and not Rivka. So we're all asking why? Why Yitzchak and not Rivka? Because the merit of the prayer of a tzaddik, who is the child of a wicked person, cannot be compared to the merit of a prayer of a tzaddik, who is the child of a tzaddik. Yitzchak's father was who? Avram Avinu. He's the son of a tzaddik sheben tzaddik. Whereas Rivka's father was the wicked Betuel. The quote ends here. You thus learn, says the Or HaChaim HaKadosh, who we're learning for the first time, at least for me, that it was only because Yitzchak had a father who is the tzaddik Avram, that Hashem favored him and gave him children. This is the meaning of the verse's statement. Avram holid, he caused Yitzchak to father children. That is through the merit of Avram. Avram enabled Yitzchak to father children. However, this is a beautiful idea. Just to bring it back to the pasuk, the Evetz Hodo Yitzchak ben Avram holida Yitzchak, and these are the offspring of Yitzchak, the son of Avram, which is Yaakov and Esav, and Avram fathered Yitzchak. So, what can we take away from these approaches to the Or HaChaim HaKadosh? So many approaches. But we're going to take away one approach. Now we're here at Thanksgiving, a day of Hodah, a day of gratitude, of returning to gratitude, of returning to Thanksgiving, to thanks that's giving to others. We should just be Zocha to thank those around us for enabling us to be us, but also having vision for the future, vision for our children, vision for our grandchildren, and recognizing that all of our efforts and our actions right here, right now, before that future has arrived, that future place that has arrived, maybe children, Bezrat Hashem, by all of us and grandchildren, and a home, a wife, a husband, all of it. Our actions matter right here, right now. It was the event at the Akedah that enabled Yitzchak to have children. Before that, it was locked. So we should just know the power of our actions right here, right now, because we don't know the effect of which they have for ourselves, for future generations. B'siyata d'shmaya. Happy Thanksgiving. The Orach Chaim Kadosh. Chavra, we're fired up. Isaac, do you have anything to add before we conclude?
That was amazing.
Oh, amazing. Okay, so it's awesome.
Yeah.
Mamish.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Be well, brother.
Yeah.
Bye.